Hey guys, welcome back to another DK podcast. It's your homegirl Joey. We are at episode number 29. This episode will be broken down into two episodes, episode 29.1 and episode 29.2. In this episode, we have my homeboy Clay Moorefield, another fantastic trainer in the city of Pittsburgh. This man is a powerful man with a powerful testimony. Today, he will open up to us and let us into his world about his journey in life. Without further ado, let's get into it. Hey guys, it's your girl Joey from the DK podcast. Welcome back to another episode. We are on episode 28, guys. I know, right? Today I have a special guest with me. Would you like to introduce yourself, sir?
What's up? What's up? What's up? It's Clay Moorefield. Hey, what's going on, Joe? Thank you for having me here first and foremost. I'm Clay Moorefield. I'm a Muslim, practitioner of Islam. That's number one, first and foremost. I'm the 10 of 12 kids. I'm a father of three, a 29-year-old, a 23-year-old, and a 5-year-old. And I have a daughter that calls me dad. Her name is Courtney. My oldest is Clay. My daughter is Kalea. My youngest is Julian. So I'm a father of three and call one daughter. So she's like a bonus. She's a really big bonus and a big blessing. I love my kids to death. Family person, very, very big on family, very big on fitness, very big on advocating for those who are from low-income families and at-risk youth, very big on that. And I'm very big. I love my elders. I love my elders. Now, I pretty much do almost anything in order for them to have a great ending to their last days on this earth. I respect them very highly. Other than that, I own a few businesses. Goals-oriented training, that's my training company. Club Elevation, everybody know that's me and OJ's joint venture together. I have a business called SKNDP LLC. It stands for Success Knows Nothing Disrupts Purpose. Okay. And this is a business that provides resources, education, mental health therapy, and kind of like personal empowerment to at-risk families, not one ethnicity, just at-risk families at all. We try to get individuals to, number one, understand that they are their potential, right? That's what we try to get first and foremost. And then we try to give them resources. Because one thing that we know about people that are in low income areas, they lack a lot of resources. So we try to provide that for them. We do lives on Facebook, and then we have low engagement that we have within community and organizations within communities that kind of do the same thing. Other than that, a person that's very big on equality and everybody, being treated greatly. A person that's very big on respect, very big on punctuality. Just some of the intangibles that make us stand out from somebody else. Not just how you look or how we're perceived, but who we actually are as a person.
Absolutely, absolutely. Clay, where are you from?
I'm from Hazelwood.
Oh, get out of here.
Yeah, Hazelwood.
I would have never
native.
guessed that.
Hazelwood native.
Okay. What part of Hazelwood? I used to live out there.
I mean, people separate it nowadays, but it was all Hazelwood when I was growing up. But I grew up in the Glen Hazel area.
Okay, so you above the tracks.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because I used to live below the tracks when I was like in my early 20s, but okay, cool, that's what's up.
See, it's a good thing that you got there when you got there, because that area was a wild area back in the day. Yeah,
really,
like those tracks separated ethnicities.
You know what? I can see that when I was down there. I definitely can see that because I think I was like one of the only black people that was on my street.
And there probably was another one on another street over and another one on another street over.
Right.
Like, it was like, but you got to think and this is when. This late was 90s, early 2000s.
Yep, early 2000s. So you got to
think of that, and you got to think of before 99.
Okay.
Back, right? In the 90s, you were still seeing the racial separation at that time. So people that be thinking that we made these tremendous strides with racial integration. In some neighborhoods we did, but in a lot of neighborhoods
right?
We didn't.
Yeah, because
that was one of them.
It's still Pittsburgh at the end of the day, So, tell me about your childhood.
Childhood, where to start? When I was born, like I said, I was the 10th of 12 kids. Whew. And my mom, 12 kids. I'm my father's last. My mom got married after that. A second marriage. I had 2 more kids after that, but I'm my father's last. So it could almost be looked at as a baby in one aspect, but not not in reality a baby. And I was never treated like my dad wasn't never one of those guys who want to treat anybody like a baby.
Okay.
Rough at times to where, we had what we need, but didn't have what we wanted. So it depends on how you look at it. It could be looked at as rough times, or it could be looked at it as you made it.
Yeah.
Right. And that's all perception, right? Because what one person perceives, you're not going to perceive, right? Because what somebody might think is a hard time, another person might think is paradise.
Right.
Right. And just real quick to kind of like put that into perspective, what I just said was I took for granted a lot of things that we have in this country. And years ago, might have been 2000 or something like that, I went to Jamaica.
Okay.
And I left the resort and I went to the neighborhood where the photographer of the resort was from. It was in the grill. So he took me to his house. And while he was getting in the shower, I'm sitting out front talking to his mother. And she asked me how much the plane ticket was. And I told her how much it was. Now you got to figure this is 99, 2000. So things weren't astronomically priced like they are now.
Okay.
And that price that it was now, she said, you know how long it takes for me to get that? She said, I got to put food on their back and keep shelter over their head. And he's taking a shower outside at a pump. And the water is the temperature of the outside. So if it's warm outside, it's warm water. If it's cold outside, it's cold water.
Right. Okay.
Once I seen that, it made me stop taking things for granted. It made me start really, number one, being more culturally diverse, because until you go to these third world countries and see, really like in the projects in the United States, you got cold and hot water.
Right.
You got the option.
Right.
The only thing you may not have is air conditioning, but now the ones that they're putting up got AC in them.
Exactly.
Right. But these individuals don't. And I've seen people living on the side of streets in aluminum, like made an aluminum hut, and people lived in it. So like traveling done that for me. So when I was saying a person's perception, there were times when you didn't have the food that you might have wanted, but you ate.
Yeah.
Right. So that's pretty much how the early part of the childhood was. I was always a straight A student. Going through elementary school, I was one of the top students in the school. I might have had 2 B's from first grade to 5th grade. Right. Graduated with crazy honors. Got one of the, they gave like a gift certificate out for being like having one of the highest GPAs ever up at this point.
Okay.
So I figured since I'm 1977, that's when I was born. So I graduated in 87 from elementary school, and like up to that point, they gave me like these little gifts, or not gifts, bonds to a bank. You put in a bank, and they gave me one of those and stuff like that, and gave me all these trophies and stuff. Middle school was a little different. At that time, you start getting more attracted to the opposite sex. Right. So I was still an honor student, but I just wasn't a straight A student. I was chasing girls around and stuff like that. So middle school was still good, but what I started getting more introduced to was individuals who were selling drugs. Right. Grown-ups, right? So where I had to go to school at, we had to walk through a drug strip where guys were out selling drugs. These are some family members, a lot of people that I've seen and looked up to in the neighborhood, men, women. So like I'm walking through this. So this is, I believe, is when my perception started getting distorted about what it is to actually be a productive member of society. Right. Because at this time, I've never really witnessed nobody saluting or shouting out the working father. Right. I've never really seen it. I didn't have a father in the house with me, but there were a couple people in the neighborhood that did, literally like a couple. So all of us were products of single mom households. So these were individuals, they never seemed to do nothing wrong, but they were, in fact, destroying the community. Right. But we don't see all the destructive things that go on. Right. All we're seeing is when we're walking through there, checking for our report cards. Oh, you got a high on the road to give you $50. Right. So you might walk home with a couple hundred if your grades are right, because these are the individuals, like they're peers of my older brother. So like I'm looked at as like nephew or little brother by these individuals. So that coupled with looking at television, and back then Scarface was the big movie, or New Jack City was the big movie, or Boys in the Hood right after that, and then Menace to Society. Like we were taught to cheer for the bad guy. Right. We were never taught to cheer for Furious Styles and Boys in the Hood, the guy who was there active, the one that was a working man, not the guy that was a drug addict or a drug seller.
Right.
So this is where I believe, for me, my perception started getting distorted, because now when you're at home, you're looking at movies. We're not rooting for the police to capture Scarface. We're sad because he had to go to jail. You're not rooting for the police to bust Nino Brown. Like you're cheering for the bad guy.
Right.
And these same people are individuals you've seen in the neighborhood. So then getting into high school was a little different, because at this time I'm already kind of in the streets. Right. I'm in the streets, but I'm still a straight A, still honor student. But in school, I'm doing in school, and when I'm home, I'm in the streets at home sneaking because my older brothers, they never wanted me to be involved in that lifestyle, like because my grades were so good. I was a basketball player. They thought I was going to college to play basketball. I did tumbling, gymnastics, and I ran track.
Oh, get out of here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if I wasn't so like stiff right now, I would bust one out for some kids. I only do it for kids nowadays.
Okay.
But I'm a little stiff right now, so I kind of fell back from doing that. But yeah, like those were the things I was involved in. So I kind of hid that from my older brothers, right, for a really long time. And then once they kind of found out, it was like, well, we can't stop you.
Yeah.
Right. It was not, we can't stop you. So at that point, it was more of, well, you got to understand what you're being involved in because you're going to do it. So at that point, it became more, I started getting kind of trained into being into the streets.
Were they into the streets? Your older brothers?
Them, yeah. Okay. A couple of them where I got some brothers doing some large jail time right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did 11 years myself for narcotics trafficking. So 10th grade, I stopped playing basketball and I started focusing on academics. So from that point on, I had a 3.9 GPA.
Okay.
From 10th grade going on. So I graduated in the National Honor Society, got a partial academic scholarship to Central State University, a black college in Ohio. Went there for probably a year. And then at this time, my son was about to be born.
Okay.
So instead of me finishing the school year, coming home, I was going to come back home and get back involved in the streets because I was doing that anyway. I was coming home on the weekends from school and run the streets. I chose to take off the fall semester and just stay in the streets and then run the money up and then leave some money and then go back to college. And all that planned out perfectly. Okay. It did what it did. Went back to school and I got caught with a gun. Right? So from that point on, I got 2 years probation. So
was that your first time ever getting in any type of
any trouble?
Okay.
Not ever first time with the law, you get chased and all that, but the first time ever being busted or anything.
Okay.
So the logical thing would be to accept your responsibility for your crime, get your 2 years probation, that's all I got, and go back to school. Right. I got the 2 years probation and said, the heck with school. I just went full-fledged. It was a downhill spiral from that point on. Pretty much a downhill spiral almost up until 2013, and this was in 1997. So from that point on, I just left everything and just went full-fledged, 1,000 miles per hour in the streets. So just kind of fast forward 2000. Now, in the midst of 97 until I went to jail in 2001, there were numerous court cases, beating some, never really getting convicted of any, but there were some pending. So I got caught this one time, and then the federal government ended up picking up the case. Okay. So when they picked that case up, I had a couple other cases pending. They picked all of the cases up. Oh. So at this time, my initial federal sentence was a 9-year sentence. So it's wild, and I really want people to understand the distorted perception of individuals in this lifestyle. Never been to jail, right? And I had pled guilty to 9 years, right? They put it in months. It was 108 months. So I get back to the unit. Now I'm cool with this guy from New York named Pete. So I'm like, Pete, you know what's crazy? I said, man, I've never been to jail in my life, and they just gave me 9 years, and I'm okay with it, right? And if a person looks at 9 years, it's not a drop in the bucket. Nope. It's a large amount of time, yes, right? Yes, it is. And I just accepted it. Yeah. This is what it is. This is what I signed up for. This is part of the game. Let's go.
So, okay. All right. Because I was going to ask you why do you feel like you accepted it? But that makes sense.
Yeah, because one of the things that I was taught, right, was you gotta accept your crimes. Yeah, the crimes that you commit, you gotta take responsibility for because you're choosing to live this way. Right. So in the midst of you choosing to live this way, there are consequences, and you gotta accept the consequences that come with it. So that was a part of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When I caught my case, that's basically where I was at with it. It was just that I was just like, this is what I chose to do. And there was no crying, there was no nothing. It was get in there, do what you got to do, and get back to your family, and just don't look back. Don't make the same mistake again. So while you were away for the 9 years, did you have a plan on what you were going to do when you came home?
Kind of. Not really an extensive plan, right? Because at this time, I've never really held employment for a large period of time. Like besides school, I was in the streets. Mm-hmm. Like really, like school, streets, after school, all streets. So once I left school, it was just nothing but the streets. I would take little moments where I would try to stop and get my life together, but the money just wasn't the same. So I'm like, forget all that. I'm just going back into what I was used to doing for all this time. So when I went in, any institution that I went to, so initially they sent me out to this place in Ashland, Kentucky, right? So I get out there and they had a welding program.
Okay.
So I'm like, all right, well, whatever institution I go at, whatever programs they offer, I'm going to get them.
Okay.
So they telling you, okay, part of the initial process is they're telling you how long the program is and what the employment looks like once you get out, how much money you'll make in a couple years after you become a journeyman, what it looks like. So I'm like, all right, I can make that work. So that's where my mind was at. But then I got transferred from there and I went to a place in West Virginia. So when I got to the place in West Virginia, they offer HVAC, heat and ventilation and air conditioning certification. So to this day, I'm a heat and ventilation, air conditioning certified technician.
I'm actually a FiOS tech.
Oh,
I got a degree from Penn State to do FiO optics. Yep.
Yeah. So until this day, so that was when I first came home. That's what I had. So I never used it because I was not able to get employment from anywhere.
Okay.
Right. And then like I got the paperwork and then I had a little bit of experience from being inside, but coming home, you know, you're looking at you as a felon, they're not giving you the opportunity. Right. And all I've ever asked for was the opportunity, because if you give me the chance to, if you open the door for me, it's never going to close.
Right.
I'm coming in, and I'm going to move up, and whatever the company is, I'm going to ascend.
Right.
Hands down. Like that's how I believe. So a very big part of me going back to prison is once I was unable to get gainful employment, I start mingling back around with the individuals that I was in the streets with before.
Yep.
So I was overconfident, number one, because in prison, you know, I was a Muslim before prison, but like I get in there and start really practicing, start really studying. So you start developing a higher level of faith. Like your faith increases because now you're reading more, and you're praying more, you're doing all these things without distraction.
Right.
So while we don't have distraction, it's easy to think that you can handle what the society has to throw at you because it's not there. And I think I was overconfident because even till today, I don't really mingle with the individuals from before. We see each other in passing, and it's all love, no hard feelings, but my progress is mine.
Yes.
And where I'm trying to go in life is mine. And what I'm trying to do with my kids and pass on to my kids is mine.
Yes.
Right. I'm not expecting nobody to understand that at times. Right. And pretty much everybody kind of understands it. But till this day, and I've been home now going on 12 years, 2013, about to be 13 years in a few months.
Okay.
And I still don't mingle around, and I'm far removed from it. Don't have any thoughts about nothing criminal, but yet and still, I still have that. You know, individuals deal with narcotics abuse. Like they don't go into bar. Alcoholic don't go into bars. I'm not going around that stuff no more, even to this day, with no thoughts of it. I'm just at a point to where I'm like, I know where I felt before, and I'm not setting myself back up to even get subject to failure.
So tell me how you got involved with the fitness.
So with the fitness, now this is stick with me for a little bit, y'all. Stick with me.
All right.
So I got out. 15 months later, I catch another case and I got to go back to jail. Right. So I got to do another 4 years for this another case that I had.
Okay.
Once I went back in, fitness always been a part of me. Like I told you, I ran track, basketball, gymnastics. But it's always loved math and science.
Okay.
Right. So looking back on it, hindsight is 2020. You looking back on it, I would have probably went to school for some type of physical therapy or some type of physical trainer, knowing what I loved. But going through high school, and I hope a lot of parents and mentors are doing this with the youth now, is pinpointing what your strengths are and what your love is and creating a career based off of that. At that time, you're pretty much working in your purpose, right? With a lot of people here, what is your purpose? And are you walking in your purpose? Like once you couple those things, at that point, I believe now you're working and moving with a purpose.
That's good to
know. Right. So I hope that I didn't have that.
Right. Me neither.
The main thing I had was go to college, and it was almost figure out what you want to do from there. Right. My family thought I was going to be a doctor. My family probably thought I would have been a president of the United States. Like I was really that good academically. Right. And it just came really, really easy. Right. So going back in, the prison I was at offered personal training certifications.
Okay.
So I'm like, cool. My thought, whatever prison I go to, whatever program they have, number one, it's going to keep me out of trouble. It's going to keep me away, because there's classes. Yeah. So it's going to keep me away from the general population for a period of time. So what it actually done was it relit a fire in me that kind of dwindled out when I was running the streets. So now I'm back in doing math, I'm back in doing science, and I'm working out. So I'm like, oh man, this is perfect. So at that point, I started to like reignite the love that I had for it from the years ago.
Right.
So I get certified, and I started actually training individuals in prison.
Okay.
So I got certified within the 2 years that I was there, and then for the next 2 years, I had a few guys I was training. And it's really funny because this one guy came home, and when he comes home, he takes his shirt off and say, "This is your product."
Okay.
He said, all the stuff you taught me, I continued this on once you got out, because we was at the same prison. And then I left maybe 2 years before he did.
Okay.
So that's really where it started from. So now I had a very comprehensive plan at this time. So once I got certified, number one for me was I had to come home and, number one, get employment, right? Because, and I want people to really understand this, and I've had this talk with many men in prison, right? Is that there's a lot of time individuals incarcerated that got tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars in the streets. They think they're overqualified for a job. They may not be paying $50,000, $75,000, $100,000 a year. And my question to them was, what credentials do you have that make you qualify for that position, right? So I want everybody to understand that there's steps, right? We all know the saying, there's levels to this stuff, right?
Yep.
There's really levels. So I had to come home and get gainful employment. And my first job was at a car wash.
Okay.
Right? And like I told you before, and you open the door for me, it's never going to close. And I'm going to ascend. The car wash wanted me to become manager.
Okay.
But I denied it because in a few months, I'm about to open my training company.
Okay.
So this is from February 2013. I started the goals-oriented training January 2014. So all this is part of my plan. Get gainful employment. At that time, I worked there, and I was also working at Planet Fitness for a short period of time. That was very, very beneficial because it gave me people that don't know me outside of the gym. I'm very quiet, right? And I'm not really a people person outside of the gym, right? So I knew this about myself. So I took the Planet Fitness and used it to gain experience in dealing with people. Now there's all these different ethnicities. I'm like, oh, I gotta train them.
Yep.
So now I'm learning how to talk to people as matter of day is. And then people that's late, I'm like having to like, hey, the session started at such time. So now I'm developing a communication style to where it's also an accountability in the communication. Right. So the numbers start kind of going really crazy there. That didn't really last that long. So I stopped working there, and then I got a job at this place called Chelsea Building Supplies. I got that through a temp agency. It's a window blind making company. So similar situation. It was only for 3 months. Once the 3 months was up, they wanted to hire me on benefits, increase pay. I'm like, nope, it's over. Like this was around Christmas Eve because they took a week off, and then they started back up in January. But I'm like, in January, I'm starting my training company. So while this was going on, I was at Planet Fitness. There were a couple individuals that wanted me to train them personally and in groups. So I probably started training in 2014, probably with about 20 people, a couple small groups and a couple one-on-ones. So that's really pretty much how I got introduced to fitness.
Okay. So real quick, tell me how you and OJ got connected.
This is like super funny. And this is my guy. I love this dude, right? So I'm home. So I'm subcontract. I'm paying this individual named Charles in a strip district, had a gym called One-on-One Fitness. So I'm paying him to use the gym.
Okay.
So OJ comes home. He's in a halfway house. So this dude, right? This dude used to jog. Now it's a couple miles. He used to jog from the halfway house to the gym and come in, work out. But he was corresponding with the individual that owned the gym from prison.
Okay.
So he's kind of like meeting face to face. So there was a guy named Keen. Keen was like, "Hey, Clay." So OJ's like, "Yo, you Clay that was locked up with Russell?" I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "Man, he told me to get with you when I come." This is how we meet.
Okay.
Random, like super random. A guy calls my name in the gym. He's there.
Right.
And this is how we meet. So from that point on, man, we were kicking it. And while we started training there together, we used to like look at what we thought might have been wrong, what could have been improved. And O used to always be like, "Bro, we could do this.
Yeah.
Bro, we could do this."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, we can." But in part of my plan, I wasn't at that point yet.
Okay.
Right? Because I had this very comprehensive plan. It was a 20-year plan that I wrote out coming out of prison.
Okay.
So, to make a long story short, we ended up having to cut that run short because the individual switched the business into a franchise, and they were no longer allowing individuals to subcontract.
Okay.
So, like, we had like 2 weeks to get everything finalized, and then we had to stop. So we were going to recreation center. I was mainly using a recreation center, and he was going to like hospitals or something. But then we were kind of like parting ways. He was going somewhere with his company. I was going somewhere with my company. So I had a building in Wilkinsburg right off the bus line across the street from Nancy's that I was in almost about to close on the lease. And he was, I forgot where he was actually at. Then some young lady named Erin that was training with him, she found a space inside of here. And we came here. He's like, bro, come and just see what the space looks like. So it was inside the warehouse. No traffic. Nobody could see inside the gym. We're going to have to let people in all the time or like, because you can't get in the building unless we let you in.
Right.
So I'm like, bro, it's not going to work because, so the guy said, come with me. And he walked us into the club elevation. He walked us in the room and we looked around like, and then we looked at each other like, this is it, before the guy said anything else. And the guy was like, it used to be a computer repair company.
Okay.
He said, but they're out of here and this is available. So then we were like, this is what we want. So from that point, we kind of went out and started strategizing on how we were going to get it.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much for stopping by to view the first half of episode 29, 29.1. We will see you next week for the second half. Please be safe out there and stay prayed up. God bless. Peace.